Right, so that was Radiohead with Creep, and this is somebody who's actually in a band now and was inspired by Radiohead and Muse and multiple other artists. Daniel, how are you?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. So what was your first sort of, when did you actually first start wanting to do music?
Primary 6, I think. I took up violin. I put my name down for cello, but our house was too big. Sorry, our house was too small, the cello was too big to learn cello, so violin seemed more portable.
Fair enough. And when did you move on to sort of guitar?
First or second year, I think. I got like a month's worth of lessons at Yamaha as a birthday present.
Mm-hmm. You sort of stuck with it since
pretty
then.
much.
Sort of
I kind of accidentally got good at it.
Fair enough. Because I've actually seen you in school and you've been absolutely incredible. Like, I've been sitting there in absolute awe.
Thank you.
At the sort of, I mean, you're composing as well. That was absolutely insane.
Yeah. Thank you.
How did the band sort of initially form?
Gaz and I sort of, I mean, we've been friends for years and years.
Mm-hmm.
And we both played guitar, and he took up drums in like 4th year. Because you have to do like a second instrument, and again he sort of just became pretty good at them.
And what was his first instrument?
Guitar.
Okay.
And we eventually sort of just found some songs we liked, and jammed them out a bit. Thought they were pretty good, but they weren't. We thought they were, but they were.
It's how every band starts.
Yeah. It was. Then we found Ethan as bass, because it was kind of just coincidence.
And he sort of just got into it just to be in the band.
Pretty much.
Well,
it was like, we need a bassist, you play bass, you're in our year, yeah, cool, let's try that. And that went pretty well.
Because not a lot of people choose bass as a second instrument, in all fairness.
I don't know, it was a weird coincidence, because he did also, like, I'd known him just before we started school, like that year, which was like 3rd year, I think, because he just moved across the road. So I got to know him a bit, and then he's like, yeah, play bass. I'm like, okay, you're in.
And so it's you, Ethan, and Gary.
Well, it was.
And at the time. And then now it's
Myself,
you, Gary, and Ben.
And Ben Jackson.
Ben Jackson.
It used to be Sam Watt as well.
Sam Watt as well,
It used to be a 4-piece.
Yeah, so it was those were some interesting. It sort of mixed
and
a little bit.
Then my ego and confidence sort of I don't know, outgrew many things. So I took things into my own hands.
So would you consider yourself sort of the front man for it, sort of just like the one?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously I'm at the front delivering vocals.
Yeah.
There's, being a 3-piece, I take all the guitar parts because there is only one guitar. I write all the songs, at least like lyrics and set up structure wise. Writing a song is like a big process.
Yeah.
Like, you could say Gaz writes the songs partially as well, because he has the drum parts. Likewise with Ben, and there's discussion amongst like.
But you're sort of the lyrical and sort of the melodical
with
sort
like
of side
structures
of
up.
everything.
I generally, in fact, always, I'm the sort of starting point. I try to be modest, but the fact's fact. I start the initial process of writing a song.
So you draw from sort of Radiohead and Muse, and they're sort of supposedly indie, but sort of becoming
at least to begin with. More recently, it's like they're still a big influence, but it's never a good idea to sound too much like your influences. Like, it's all right for people to recognize your influences, but you don't want to be a tribute act.
Yeah. I suppose
by having your own songs sound too much like them and covering their songs as well. So more recently, we've, particularly Gaz and myself, have been delving into more electronic stuff, like bands like MGMT, Tame Impala, more sort of synth psychedelic stuff.
What song have you sort of written that you're sort of most proud of, that you're sort of going, that could actually be something down the line, you could actually put that out there?
I don't know. There's no song. Being, like a sort of amateur band, we've not had an experience of like, bands that have had like 7 albums out where they write something and go, that's like a single, and they have the
but you must have like done something and you sort of went, right, this is something that I can actually refine, and down the line this can be something that's going to be like released first.
Not particularly, not to begin with. Generally, you start getting that feeling, or at least we do, after performing a song a couple of times at gigs and people point it out to us. People remember like, oh, what's that like really catchy one that you did, or the one with the really long guitar solo, or the one with the really.
And they assume it's a cover of something. And you're like, no, that's what we wrote. They're going, oh.
Well, it's not. Well, sometimes they do, yeah. But they just kind of go, oh, what was that song you played? They're like, oh, that's one of our own one. It's called this, and they're like, oh yeah, that was a really cool one. And then they start recognizing it as we play it more at gigs, and you sort of build up people actually knowing the songs.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame at that point that people are just sort of, where did I get it? I want to listen.
Well,
to
yeah,
it.
that's a sort of speed bump we've sort of run into in the past couple of months. But hopefully before the new year, we'll have a 4-track sort of EP to get out to people.
Very nice. Is there any? What are you sort of hoping to do with the band in the next sort of wee while? As you said, there's the EP, but have you got any sort of gigs planned or anything sort of down the line that you're sort of keeping an eye on?
Well, yeah, we sort of aim for at least 1 gig a month. It gets particularly difficult around Christmas time and around kind of just before the summer holidays, because that's when all the exams are for both college and uni. So that puts a bit of a strain on things.
And Christmas, everyone's packed even.
Yeah. It's hard doing gigs just after Christmas as well, because you'd think, being Christmas, people would have money, but that money gets spent very quickly.
Yeah.
So
the money's basically coming back to them after they've spent everything.
Yeah. So it's kind of tricky. Just gigs during holidays in general, because particularly major holidays like summer and Christmas where people go away. Free gigs, it's not so bad, because then you just play in a bar and then there's loads of people to play to anyway. But yeah, ticketed ones are slightly trickier.
Of course, because I'm guessing there's a lot more sort of learning about the business side of things. Suddenly, I need to manage this instead of just being able to get up and on stage.
Particularly, not all gigs work the same, or ticketed gigs work the same. Some of them, it depends on the promoter. Some of them demand like a sort of, they say like, okay, we take like the first 6 ticket sales and then it's like 50-50 after that with them or something like that. Those are the hardest ones, because then you basically don't get to play. It's a term that's called pay to play, and it's not one that's favoured by many bands, but sometimes you just got to take.
You got to do what you got to do. Sort of
So they're the trickiest ones during holidays, because then it's like, right, we have to make this money, and if we don't, then it's coming out of our own pocket thing. The other ones where it's just, there's no minimum, it's just a constant split for every ticket, they're not so bad.
Alright, okay. So has there been any sort of moments on stage that you just thought, this is sort of the perfect moment, that it's sort of worked out, everything's sort of gone off maybe without a hitch sort of thing?
The past couple of gigs have gone really well. They were both in the Record Factory in the West End.
Brilliant venue.
Yeah, we'd never played there before, and we did a gig in September and October there, and they both went brilliantly well. There's always slip-ups, and there's always things you come off going, that could have gone better. But there was nothing so big that we had to stop and go, right, let's just move on, this is embarrassing. They all went really well, and it's generally kind of, in terms of enjoyment, just kind of goes up exponentially throughout the gig, because as things are going well, audience enjoys it more, you get more of a reaction, then that encourages, particularly myself being the frontman, it encourages me to perhaps be more erratic in performance.
I remember in the attic in the garage, you sort of went a bit insane, you did a knee drop, and you just suddenly, afterwards you just came off and went, ow.
These things sort of, they're not planned.
But in the heat of the moment, it's just it just works.
I get a very quick sort of indication as to whether things like that will work. If playing to an open hall of like 5 people, knee drops aren't particularly gonna work. People will be like, oh my god, what's he done? Is he okay? Whereas if you're playing to a venue of 100 and people are singing the chorus back to you and things like that, you can get away with things like that.
What was it? There was I think it might have been the Record Factory. Was it Franz Ferdinand?
Oh, Take Me Out.
Yeah, Take Me Out. Yeah, everyone was singing that.
Yeah.
Everyone just
when it comes to gigs, we like to have covers, at least one cover where everybody knows what it is.
Yeah.
Because obviously playing original material, although you want people to hear what you sound like, you have to play one or two things that people will know as well.
And even it's people like to sort of bop along, sing along and such. Like if you're doing new material and you suddenly like change the rhythm or something, people are just sort of like, oh right, okay.
There's a rather cliche saying, but it is true. Is that like the audience they know what they like and like what they know. And if you play Take Me Out by Franz Ferdinand that has a ridiculously catchy riff and a stop where everybody knows, like we stop musically and then they sing it back and we come back in again, things like that are always go down really well. But again, you have to be in the right situation, you know, where you know parts where you can go, right, I can get the audience to sing that part. But again, you have to have the right number of people there and the right atmosphere. Like, sing it to 100 people, they can sing it back. A hall of 5, you stop, expect them to sing, and then you know one guy sings it at the back, some mumbles it to himself, somebody else sneezes. It's like it's just sort of it would just be embarrassing. Not that we've ever done that.
And you get the two kind of venues as well. You've got like Classic Grand where it's everybody's sort of packed in and there's a few people sitting in the back, and then you've got the sort of Record Factory where everyone's sitting down and just enjoying themselves. And they're listening to the music, but it's not. It's a lot more relaxed for them. But for you, I can imagine it not being.
Well, the thing with Record Factory is there is the sort of dance floor area as well. So there is
But it wouldn't be as packed as it would be in Classic Grand because everybody's having to sort of just.
Well, yeah, that's true. But the Classic Grand is also a much bigger venue anyway. So you sort of have to scale as to. You can't just apply to Classic Grand expecting 50 people to show up because it's a 500, you know, or about 500 sort of capacity venue. Likewise, if you had, you know, if you were, you know, like Prince or someone. You wouldn't rent out the attic in the garage. I'm pretty sure Radiohead had a similar thing like that quite a while ago, where they just announced that they were playing in some like small venue, and then they had to cancel the gig within about an hour because there was just too many people who showed up.
That's why you get secret. So if you're doing it, you do it in secret, like members only or something. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for doing this, and
cool.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And that was Daniel Scott from Peninsula. They're going to be gigging the next couple of months, and hopefully releasing their EP by the end of the year.
Cool. Cheers.